feel that vibration? What is that?
It's the sewing machine.
Sewing machine. I was wondering what that was. Okay. I was like, what the?
I think it's your crown chakras vibrating.
Where did I leave off? What was the last thing we were talking about?
We were talking about remedies for Upapada Lagna in various houses. So like, you're the second, put money in the bank.
What actually activates it, or remedies?
Remedies for activating it. You don't necessarily have to fast. You just activate that house to activate that Upapada.
It's not particularly remedies, it's just activation.
Well, you said remedy last time.
Okay,
You
maybe.
said activate. How to activate the Upapada.
Yeah.
Right. Go out.
It's not really a remedy then.
It is remedial.
If you want to bring the Upapada Lagna to you, then
We want to give it some energy. So
if
is
somebody
it?
can't find a partner, you want to bring that partner to you, you activate that.
Yeah, we got to activate the energy there to bring them into our life. That's where it is.
Yeah. So that is kind of like a remedy then.
It's like a remedy. Yeah. But more than just, it's not just fixing a problem. You know, it's actually.
Activate it.
Yeah.
It could be a bad thing that you're activating.
Yeah. Depends on that Upapada, right? As we go through this, we're going to see some really bad Upapadas. And examples. And Amrita will hopefully throw this on the screen for us. Okay, so we have, I think the last chart we did was, it says Jupiter in UL, which is 4 or 5 pages down. 3, 4, 5, 6, on the 7th page.
Is this from your book?
This is the Aruda book, yeah.
Oh, this is the Aruda book.
Yeah. Not this book you're saying, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the next.
This is next book.
Could you apply the activation rules also
Yeah.
to the D9 Upapada?
No.
Only the Rashi?
Yeah.
Are we around here? This motherfucker association?
Nope.
So
Should say Jupiter
we
in
went
UL.
through all of the ways of
And look,
activating.
this, yeah, that's it.
We did that last time.
Yeah.
Oh,
Why don't you give them a review?
If you're Upapada Lagna in the second house, you put money in the bank, eat good food, read Vedas. If in the third, you go out more, socialize, listen to music, things like that.
Also, just do activities related to the house.
Yeah.
All right.
Right?
Yeah.
But
It's weird though, if it's in the 10th, you get a job and work more, get more status, right?
get more status, work more,
Like,
get a
that's
better
kinda-
job. And it was strange. I was teaching that, and the phone rang, and I didn't answer it. And then my other phone rang, and I didn't answer it. But then as soon as we took a break, I went and checked.
Your boss or something.
I got a new job.
Oh. Interesting.
Talking about Upapada. And the job comes, I have a 10th house Upapada.
Wow.
So I taught Upapada and a new job came. It was perfect. But, so Upapada, if we look at this chart, go on up a little bit.
So for 4th house, what's 4th house?
Buy a
Down,
house,
I mean.
take care of your house,
Or
Clean your
go
house.
farther
maybe
into
take
the
care of your mother,
document.
I don't know, something like that, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Get a
clean your
better
house.
car.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
right there.
Get a
Fix your
nice
car.
car.
Better car for which?
4th house.
Fourth house or buy a house?
Buy a house.
What about taking care of your mother, for example? Would that
Taking
be-
care of your mother?
Fourth house as well?
I don't know.
No?
That's more the fourth lord
Oh, is that right? Okay.
and the moon. You know, so
Oh, that's interesting.
the animate. Your mother's the animate.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's
so
interesting,
What about be a happier person?
be more content. We could say that, but that would be strengthening the Upapada,
Wow.
right? So you buy that house
So
and
isn't education a 4th house activity?
That's true.
Go learn something.
Yeah, little learn something.
go to
Oh, go to school.
go to school, but that's early education.
Oh.
Yeah, when we say go learn something, it's more Upapada in the 9th.
Oh.
Go take some college classes, go listen to the guru, do some workshops.
4th is primary education.
primary education. No one gets married in grade school in these days. Now, how old was Ramakrishna's wife when they got married?
5. I
Five?
was reading this book on Shraddha Devi, and he went and he chose her, and she was a 5-year-old.
He
Oh,
was
was
like
he?
28,
Something like that. I don't know exactly. Yeah.
but they didn't get together until she was.
Yeah, but he married her, and then she went back to the village, and when she was old enough, she came to be with him. That's
They
the
never
old
really
fashioned.
had sex, though, did they?
Never.
Mm-mm.
It's like that.
Yeah. But it wasn't uncommon in those days for that to happen. I think even Krishnamacharya's wife he was like maybe late 30s, and she was 17 or
Single
something.
digits,
Yeah. Well, that's the old-fashioned way. Okay, so you got the point of that. Basically, to activate the Naruto, we activate its house. Because they're Bhava.
Baba Padas.
So we activate the Bhava.
So the Baba that the Aruda is in,
The Bhava.
right? 'Cause
That's the key is Bhava.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So now we're going to get into the Upapada Lord. And the great Parashara tells us in verse number 14 of the Upapada chapter, he says, if the Lord of the Upapada Lagna, or the constant significator of wife, is exalted or in its own sign, the wife will be from a good family. In the case that it is Nietzsche, the reverse will happen. Now, a tiny, tiny little difference. Jaimini says the exact same thing, but he uses a different word. And Jaimini says, if the Lord of the Upapada is exalted, the spouse comes from an upper class family. If it is Nietzsche, the opposite is the case. What is the difference? Jaimini says, Uttama, if you can look in here. Jaimini says, Uttama Kula, where Parashara says, Su Kula.
Best family restricted.
Su Kula means good, happy,
Oh, happy.
good or happy, family. Good quality. Where Jaimini is saying Uttama, like a high level, good quality. You know, so Jaimini is almost using a word that's a little bit more quality based. But bottom line is, when that Lord of the Upapada is exalted or in its own sign, the person comes from a good family. From a family that's upper class. From a family that's respected. Okay? It's key. And it works like gold. And this also applies to the Aruda Lagna. If the Aruda Lagna Lord is exalted and in its own sign, the person is themselves more upper class or coming from a better family.
This is the Lord of any Baba Pada.
Yes, it makes it better.
Okay.
So if you look at my A6 Lord is exalted. So look at my pets.
Yeah, they're exotic from like
They're purebred.
purebred.
So they're from an Uttama. They're from an exalted family. They're Egyptian cats. So it applies to all the Baba Padas.
What does constant significator mean? Just
Constant significator. So what constant significator, so this is an interesting thing. He's giving us an also case. He said or. So constant significator, Venus, 7th Lord. Well, for Venus, 7th Lord, Dharkaraka. So he's saying that these things can overrule the situation. So if Venus is exalted, the 7th Lord is in its own sign, the Dharkaraka is in Mahapurusha Yoga, then, even if the Upapada Lagna Lord is in an enemy sign, it's still going to be a good family.
So Charakaraka is the constant significator.
No, all of them.
Oh.
Constant significators.
Oh,
That's not
significator.
Doesn't
Yeah.
work for me.
It doesn't work for mom.
Sorry, man.
What's up?
It doesn't work in my chart, I think.
Do you have two? Oh, is there two two planets. Lord,
People always have to sit there and say it doesn't work in mine.
Sorry,
Throw up
man,
this
sorry,
chart.
Sorry.
No,
How's it not
it's
work in your
explain.
chart?
Well, Jupiter is the Upapada Lagna Lord.
Uh-huh.
It's MKS. It's
Okay.
an enemy sign.
Okay.
Venus is
And was there any marriage proposal or anything before the wife that you're with now?
no.
Nothing. No other girlfriend or serious relationship.
Not really. Nothing marriage level.
Okay.
This is the right chart with that time because I have a couple, 10:25.
Move it back like a minute. 23.
But hold on, the Rashi
It
doesn't
doesn't
change,
matter,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, so
Doesn't.
we don't.
It
Yeah.
doesn't change. But yeah. So
Upapada Lord is Jupiter in Taurus.
it's
Okay.
also the Dharakaraka,
Also the Dharakaraka.
and Mercury is my 7th lord, and that's like not in a great position either. So
Oh,
and
Mercury the 5th.
it's with Saturn and what aspect it? No, it's just with Saturn, right?
it's
Okay, but that's okay. And
It's not very combust. It's not really combust.
yeah. And oh, come on!
Huh?
Look at that 12th house.
my 12th
A9?
house.
So we have well, we have two Upapadas.
I was wondering about this. But,
So we have from there we have Rahu, and Rahu is giving us an Upapada in the 4th, or we have Saturn.
Oh, it's on the 8th.
No, but you count again.
So this right here is using the Upapada from Saturn. But if we use the Upapada from Rahu, then we're going to the 4th house.
Okay.
but the
Which
So I don't know. It's just, an important point to make to differentiate. But they're both benefic planets with no planet placed there, and the Lord, I mean, she's more likely, I'd say, the Jupiter one, though. Because Mercury is Nietzsche and the Navamsha. And so that would indicate lower, and not as good of a family.
right.
More than Jupiter would.
Yeah.
Why, what kind of family is she from?
Pretty good film.
Yeah?
I lucked out.
Yeah, but we don't have a negative situation with Jupiter.
But it's an enemy sign, right? I'm just talking about
Yeah,
the word, right?
it's in an enemy sign. But it is still a Venetian sign, and it's not that bad.
Venus is well placed.
Yeah, so there's not, it's Marna Karkastana, but it's not afflicted otherwise, really.
But the enemy sign, that's what indicates the status though, right? That's
In general, yeah.
But not always.
Primarily. I wouldn't look at this chart and say she's from a not good status family.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I also wouldn't look at this and say she is from a high status family.
Just medium.
That's what I would say just looking at the chart. But you're saying she is from a high status.
What do you mean by high status? I guess maybe there's a
Yeah.
So
ambiguity
the
there.
Upapada in this chart we're using Gemini. Is that
Upapada's using Gemini. Well,
No.
the big thing is if we look, you see,
or Saturn?
there's no planets in either Gemini or
Sad.
in
Oh,
Sag.
Sag.
In either one, there's no planet. So neither one on that level is being made stronger. If we look at aspects to it, is either one aspected by Jupiter? No. Is either one aspected by Mercury? No. So aspected by their own Lord? No. So then we look and we see that
What's the aspect the second from the Upapada?
Mercury is Atmakaraka, which would make it a little bit stronger, but Mercury is 28 and Saturn is lesser, so there is a little lean towards Gemini there. We also look at Mercury being placed in a Mercury is in the odd sign, is being placed in an even place, which makes it strong.
What do we want to look at, Rahu?
Jupiter.
Is there Mercury?
There's two different ways to do which Upapada to use. One is to see which lord of that original sign is stronger. That's what Narasimha uses, and that's what Jehor uses.
Okay.
I don't utilize that.
Okay.
I do the stronger of the final resting place of the Baba
So
Pada.
either Jupiter or Mercury.
Mercury.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And but neither there's but if we're looking at those planets only because there's nothing in one of those houses to make it stronger.
Yes.
If there was a planet in the 4th or the 10th to make it stronger, then I would automatically go to that.
Okay.
So then you look at the Lord if there's no planets. You look
But
at the
but
Lord.
Jupiter is an odd sign as well, placed in an even placement. So again, it's strong. So it's getting down to the real nitty gritty there.
But Mercury has more planets with it.
But
And
Mercury
it's
has
South
more
Makara.
planets with it, and the South Makara.
So,
So
it should be Gemini.
it's
according to-
leaning towards Gemini, but if she's from a high family, it can't be.
Well, again, what is
Just
what is
because-
high family? Maybe it is Gemini, or maybe it is Mercury.
No, because Mercury is Nietzsche in the Navamsha.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So that's going to show not the best family.
Right.
That the Navamsha signification of the planet is super important, especially when it comes to Upapada.
It's really quite even though.
A little bit, but we can see just by results in life
Mm.
that Jupiter's winning.
Mm.
So, and did your career start, or at the time you got married?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. That's pretty much when I got married. That's when things began.
yeah. So, you see the activation.
Yeah.
So the thing is, they get activated together. If we want to go the other direction, it's like the person in a chart like this, you see the marriage comes when the person starts their career.
Mm.
And if they're if they're, somebody in college or something like that, and they're trying to get married, and you see that, it's like, I'm sorry, but you might as well wait till, you get done college to find, your partner.
Mm.
And this one woman, she was in a master's program, and she's like, I want to be married by the spring.
Yeah.
That's what she said. I said, well, that's not going to happen.
Had she found her partner?
No. Because she was in school. She had, actually in her chart, what she had was Saturn in the 9th house. And we haven't got into this technique yet, but we'll save this for later. But any which way, the second Upapada was in the 10th house. I had her break the first Upapada and go to the 10th house Upapada, and, because the first one was in the 3rd. So I had her break that and go for that second Upapada, and I said, wait till the job starts, do the remedy, wait till you start career life, and then get married.
How do you break the Upapada?
We'll get there.
Oh, alright.
But we did talk about it last time a little bit. But I'm trying to stay in order.
Okay.
So Upapada Lord. Little difference, Uttama or Sukula. So in this one example, we have this guy, James. And James travels all over the country and world. He has a VW bus that is, he turned the whole thing, he took it apart and he built the whole thing out of wood. Really ornate, fine wood and stained glass, and like it's a piece of art. And he just parks at places, and he has a little donation bin outside of it, and people he just goes and parks places, and he just makes enough money to just, be. So he's not having that high of a career position in himself. Yet, the women he attracts just happen to be millionaires, and from very rich families. So I said this guy has to have, a strong Upapada Lord. And so looking at his Upapada Lord, we see the Upapada's in the 4th, and it's in Aries, and Mars is placed there with the Sun exalted. Okay, so we see he is attracting, rich and powerful women that are coming from rich and powerful families. Interesting, huh? Okay, and the next chart that I have is the opposite. This projector is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah,
You'll just be able to look at these charts.
very cool.
And change them and move them. And how are we doing it without a projector?
You waste time.
Huh?
You waste time.
Yeah. So in this chart, okay, Upapada Lord. Who's the Upapada Lord?
Mars.
You sure?
K2.
She married a guy. And now in her Navamsha, she has the Atmakarka in the 7th house. What does Atmakarka in the 7th house do?
Atmakaraka in the 7th house means that
Of the Navamsha.
in the Navamsha?
Yeah.
Oh, in the Navamsha.
What happens when the Atmakarka is in the 1st house?
They should come from a well-off family.
So this person comes from a well-off family, or they become well-off.
Okay. And so 7th would be the opposite?
Would be the partner comes from a well-off family, or becomes well-off.
Makarka and Navamsha?
Atmakarka in the 7th house of Navamsha.
So the partner is well off.
Well-off, or, it also makes the person spiritual. Because well-off can mean two things. We can be well-off monetarily, we can be well-off spiritually. From the ancient traditions, somebody who had great spiritual wisdom was well-off. There'd always be people there taking care of them and bringing food and this and that for the teachings and, for the being spiritually well-off. So he had this. So he was a spiritual guy. But he used to steal cars.
K2 is a thief.
But he was spiritual.
Spiritual thief.
Yeah.
Well, not only, the Upapada Lagna is conjunct Rahu as well.
Oh, right.
So, but because of that Atmakarka, what he would do is he'd go to temple and he'd pray. He'd do puja every day. And he'd pray to God that he could get some good, robbery in that day. And then he'd go out and he'd steal cars, and he was part of a whole big operation, where they would steal cars and they'd take it to a place and it would just be a new car.
Is this in America or in
No,
India?
this is in India.
It
And
isn't like something you could get away with here.
not anymore, yeah. But this is in India.
Yeah.
Indian woman who was a student at SJC.
Oh.
And one day he went to work without going to the temple first.
Oh.
And he got caught
Uh-oh.
that day.
Jeez.
But one day he didn't go to temple. He got caught. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
So the gods protect us even when we're doing bad things. Isn't it crazy? But they're protecting us, but as soon as we forget them, they'll forget us very quickly too if we're living if that's how we're living. So look at the, where's K2 Nietzsche?
In Gemini. Scorpio.
In Gemini or Taurus. The opposite of Rahu. Rahu's exalted in Gemini and Taurus. And K2's Nietzsche in Gemini and Taurus.
Oh, not Scorpio. Isn't Scorpio bad?
Nietzsche.
Keisha.
K2's
Exalted.
own sign
Own
and
sign.
or exalted in Scorpio.
Rahu, that's bad in Scorpio.
Yeah, Rahu's Nietzsche in Scorpio. So she has a Nietzsche Rahu with the Aruda Lagna, and the Aruda Lagna Lord is Nietzsche. Do you see that? It's a complete Nietzsche axis. So how do you think that marriage made her feel? By getting married, she activated, just like we were talking about activate the house, activate. Well, if the yoga is with the Upapada, activate the Upapada, you activate the yoga. So she has this Nietzsche Graha axis happening. She gets married, she activates that axis.
That's the first marriage.
That was the first marriage.
Okay. So once she does that one time, she won't. The next marriage will be something different.
She still needs to do good remedies to fix the root. She needs to fertilize that tree a little bit better. And then where? She moves to that Venus-Saturn next. Right?
Eight away.
Which, Venus is nice there, but that Saturn is so-so. The really nice, for her I'd even break that next marriage and go right to the next, that moon with Jupiter second from. It's pretty, huh? But okay. Now
the remedy is always with the root one, the root Upapada.
Right, there's different types of remedies.
Oh.
Yeah. See, you missed the last class.
Yeah, I missed that.
I know.
I missed a lot.
Yeah. Last class we went very philosophical. And we just talked all about the root of the Upapada and why is the Upapada representing marriage and how we feed it and this and that. It was just real conceptual, but right proper philosophical foundation removes 100 questions.
Right.
So, but you can read over this if you want.
All right.
Especially if you'll be around here a lot, you can read the whole thing. Yeah. You can find some mistakes in here too. So before I print it.
Going down.
Yeah. So this next one is, and I don't even know this really. I should move this to a different section of the book. Move, marriage, refusal. But for some reason I put this here. And, okay, because the Lord of the Upapada is Nietzsche. That's why I have it here. Still, it's better example for some other things. So, this is the chart of a marriage refusal. But I've actually used it as an example of an Upapada not fructifying. Because what happens is, when the Lord of the Upapada is weak, then it's one of those situations that's going to be a marriage, but it just doesn't go through. How many people get engaged and show up at the church and then the partner doesn't show up at the church with them? It happens, right? Mm-hmm. Or, they get engaged and halfway before the actual wedding, they break it. Or, in India, you got a lot of situations with arranged marriages where it's being arranged and either the people really want it and then it doesn't get arranged, or it's arranged and the people really don't want it. So you get all these Upapada situations that don't end up fructifying. We see this based on the Upapada Lord being weak. Mm. And in this case, everybody see the chart good enough? We can see that the Upapada is in the 10th house, and its Lord is Venus, and look how strong Venus is.
Venus is debilitated.
What
it's
about...
Cursed. Cursed.
It's debilitated and cursed, and look at it in the Navamsha.
Oh, sorry. I have to make it
Does the Navamsha give it Nitya Bhanga?
I don't know. I can't see the chart.
Sorry.
It's not cursed.
Yeah, it's cursed.
Well,
Rahu and the sun, it's cursed. Well, does Mercury give it Nitya Bhanga?
No, Mercury could be giving it Nitya Bhanga.
Oh, yeah.
But what does the Navamsha say?
But you see, if we went just from the chart, Mercury would be giving it Nitya Bhanga.
It's debilitated in the Navamsha too.
So it's debilitated, it gets Nitya Bhanga in the Rashi from its debilitation, but the Navamsha re-debilitates it.
Because it's Nivartana, but...
Yeah, if it's anything debilitated in the Navamsha gives debilitated results in the Rashi.
I mean, even if Mercury's there, how can Venus and the Sun and Virgo together could be good? How could that be good?
Sun, Venus, and Virgo.
Venus and the Sun and Virgo.
If Venus was well placed in the Navamsha, it'd be Nitya Bhanga.
Oh.
But the Navamsha just destroys it. Navamsha is totally destroying it. So it's Nitya Bhanga, and then Nityified.
So it's Nitya
Like,
Bhanga
it
because
tries to make itself better, but it just doesn't.
and it's
We
Nitya
see
Bhanga.
that, right?
Is it Nitya Bhanga?
Navamsha is very important. It's like you can take the status in the Navamsha, and in my opinion, it gives better results than status in the Rashi half the time. Because if it's Nietzsche in the Navamsha, it will give Nietzsche results in the Rashi. Might start off giving better results, but it'll in the end give the Navamsha results. So the Upapada Lord is in a negative situation. So she is a woman she's a Hindu woman who fell in love with a Muslim boy. And they wanted to run off and get married. And he promised her they would run off and get married. Who knows what she did with the promise that they would run off and get married. But then when he introduced her to the family and told the family that they were running off and getting married, they said, yeah, right. And he ended up listening to his mother. Why do I say listening to the mother?
Rahu and Mars in the fourth house.
Not in the fourth house.
Fourth house from the Upapada.
Seventh house from the Upapada's the fourth house.
Oh, Mars is the seventh lord from the
Seventh house. Seventh house from the Upapada's the fourth house.
Right.
So it shows the mother.
Mm.
So the mother said, you will not. I'll disown you. And he said, okay, mama, I don't want to lose you. I'll drop her.
That's what opposes the marriage, the seventh from the...
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more. But so we can see that the seventh house is opposing it. Mother says, no way. Muslim mother. And so he ends up he drops her. If we look at the Upapada Lagna Lord, it's gone 12th from the Upapada.
loss.
Who loss? What's the loss caused by?
The
The Upapada Lagna Lord is representing what?
The spouse.
Partner.
What did Parashara and Jaimini say?
Oh, the status of the
What was the exact word he said?
Good family.
Uttama
Sukula, good family, and Jaimini said Uttama Kula,
happy family.
high family,
Oh, high
a
family.
high level family. What's the key word there that's in both? Kula.
Mm.
So what's the Upapada Lagna Lord really showing us?
The family.
The Kula, their status
Well, the
Right?
status. Right.
of that family the person is coming from. So when that Lord goes to the 12th, who loses her? The family.
The family loses.
The family says, no way.
Mm.
The family denies her.
They reject her.
What's the 12th house from the Aruda Lagna show us?
Expenses, loss,
What else?
just gone, destroyed.
What else?
Secret enemy.
Secret enemies.
Secret-
What do you think that Aruda Lagna Upapada Lord going to the 12th house is showing? That family, not only are they secret enemies, but it's Nietzsche.
All right, and look, it's with two planets.
You know what they're saying about her?
Mm.
Okay? It's Nietzsche and their enemy. So they're totally opposing. She has the karma to fall in love with somebody whose family totally opposes her. Is it the boy's fault? It's her own karma. You know, the situation just came up because that's her karma. Right? She could hate him and hate his family, but it's her karma. Huh?
That's really interesting.
So everything is our karma. We can't hate anybody. To have bad feelings towards anybody is the silliest thing in the world. And if you practice Jyotish long enough and you have bad feelings towards somebody, then you really haven't got Jyotish yet. Because everything is your own karma. There's no one else to be upset with. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So look at the second Lord.
Second lord from the...
The second from it is ruled by Mars. And Mars, look at Mars in the Navamsha.
It's exalted. Oh, in the Vamsha. It's debilitated.
It's debilitated.
Oh.
So now tell me which was more pertinent here? With this marriage, like with their love affair falling apart so quickly.
Well,
As soon as mom says, no way you're moving with her, I'll disown you. He says, okay, I'll drop her, mom. I'm sure he fought a little bit, but you know, for it to just fall apart, that second from the Upapada has to be weak, correct?
What about Ketu? It's in Mudra.
It's exalted in the Navamsha.
Here we're going to use with
What's it
Jupiter
called?
there. There's a reason I go Mars or Ketu for each of these. But look at that Mars. Mars is Nietzsche there. And it's exalted in the Rashi. Which one is giving, which results is she getting here? For him, he promised to marry her and that they'd run off. So all of a sudden that Upapada is activated. He promised to marry her.
Jupiter would be
They
the
had this
promise.
secret love affair happening.
Mm.
He promised to marry her. The Upapada is basically activated. It's just waiting to fructify. It's waiting to be socialized. But it breaks. So who's giving results? That exalted Mars in Rashi or the Nietzsche Mars in the Vamsha? It's clear, right? So some people, they sit there and they ask certain questions. Well, which is more important? You start seeing enough charts, it becomes obvious what's more important.
Mm.
As long as we know how to read a chart properly.
What about Shastri Amsa? How about the status planets there?
That's going to show us the past life reasons for why this is happening.
But status and stuff like that doesn't really show.
It's going to show whether we did something really bad or not really bad. It's still related to the past life karma that's influencing the situation. So it's not going to show us. That's giving us the why, not the what.
If you don't look at that to look at status of planets like in.
We can, but not at this level, and not for these purposes. Okay, so there's that situation happening. If we look, what else do we have here? We see what are the social planets? Venus, Mercury, and Moon. They're the planets that like to engage with people and talk and have fun, right? Look at Mercury and Venus. 12th from Upapada Lagna. Look at Moon from Upapada Lagna.
Moon is, in the seventh,
You think society?
sixth.
You think a society is going to accept that marriage?
6,
No, they're going to be living some kind of secret life.
12, and
Well,
6.
they did for a little while.
Yeah.
Until Mom found out. His mom, right?
So mom, Moon in the sixth from the Upapada, mother became the enemy of the relationship.
Well, it's just because it's 7. Go on to the 6.
Mm.
If the seventh Lord, and this we learned from Aruda Lagna,
Mhm.
the Lord of the Aruda Lagna blocks us from rising in life, right?
The Lord of the Aruda Lagna?
From Aruda Lagna, the 7th house
The seventh.
either takes us
Oh, or blocks us.
or blocks us.
Right.
How do we, if it's a negative situation, how do we know if we can overcome it?
We look at that 7th house. From
The
the Aruda
benefic
Lagna.
aspect in
We
it?
look at where the Lord from that has gone from the Aruda Lagna.
The 7th Lord of the...
From the Aruda Lagna. Let's say you have Saturn there.
Right.
Can you overcome that Saturn? Saturn's blocking you, but can you overcome it?
I don't know, let's say...
We look at the Lord from it.
Yeah.
Okay. In the same situation, what's blocking it is the 4th house, which is Mother.
Mm.
Where's Mother placed? She's placed, she's placed 6 from. We look at the Lord, it's not well placed from either. So in this way, it's showing that it's not going to be easy to overcome. Now, we have another situation happening, is what was the actual reason for them not coming together?
Different religions?
Religious?
Religion. Who rules religion?
So,
Jupiter? Sun?
Sun rules spirituality.
oh.
Okay. Jupiter.
Sun is just Jah. Jah. It's just... Jupiter says, well, this is how we worship Jah.
Oh, right. He's
This
the
is
priest.
Jah's, yeah, so...
Jah's agent.
The priest.
Right.
Okay? So Jupiter's religion. Who's the... Look at... so it's a movable... It's a Chara Rashi, Lagna, right?
Upapada Lagna, yes.
No. Well,
Look at it.
the Lagna itself.
Okay.
What's the Bharakstana?
Scorpio.
Jupiter. It's
Jupiter
Scorpio.
placed there.
Yeah.
So what's the Bhadak?
Mars. Which is the mother.
The Bhadakesh is Mars.
Oh, so the
But in the Bhadak, when we're looking at Bhadak, the planet in Bhadakstana takes prominence over the Bhadak Lord.
it's Jupiter.
So Jupiter is in Bhadakstana.
So it's religion.
So religion is causing obstacles in this woman's life.
So it's
And it's second from the Upapada Lagna.
Mm.
So the
It's gonna break.
the Bhadak, Jupiter in the Bhadakstana is showing problems with religion and life. And it's second from the Upapada Lagna. So it means it ruins her You see how it all fits together?
Yeah, but shouldn't you be looking at the Padakstana from Upapada Lagna? So it'd be-
We're looking from her. That if we looked at Bhadaksana from the Upapada Lagna, that would be her husband's family's blockages.
Oh. Okay.
And he doesn't have. I mean, there's.
Well, that's not our issue.
Right.
Our issue is for she's the one that wants to get married, and she's the one that's like freaking out. She just lost her virginity to some Muslim guy who promised to marry her and run off and be happy forever with her. And now, like, he told his mom found out, and he won't even talk to her anymore. Okay. So who's the one that's got the Barak issue?
She does.
She does.
Based on religion and Jupiterian related things.
Now with the exalted Badakesh,
Only makes it stronger.
makes it even more of a blockage.
Yeah.
It's not better to have a good, strong Badakesh. So the stronger the Badakesh...
Make that obstacle stronger.
Oh my god.
That's
Yeah.
in Lagna too.
It's an issue. And in Lagna, it's meaning it's something that plagues her life. And it'll cause health problems later in life. But
Phew.
Is there anything good from that exalted Mars?
it's Ruchaka Mahapurusha Yoga.
She must be a strong person, though.
She can kick butt.
Rahu and
She
the
probably
Lagna
put up a
too.
good fight.
Well, she's
But,
got...
I mean,
She's tough.
anything else? Good house? Good mother?
Yeah, but malefics in the
Yeah,
Lagna
she's
like
got
that.
benefics.
Exalted Mercury
It's
in the
just-
ninth, though.
That's
got benefics.
trouble.
Exalted Mercury and
Exalt, sorry? I didn't-
Yes,
What?
it,
think
it
even
is
though it's-
Ruchaka. It is a Ruchaka Mahapurusha Yoga.
Yeah, but it would be
Yes.
better if it were in the 10th house.
It'd be 10 times better in the day.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, she is a powerful personality.
Right.
And she can kick butt. She can get things done.
But she is kind of a pushover. She's got the Jupiter third from the AL and Moon third from the Lagna. So she's not somebody who...
That's when it comes to confrontation.
Uh-huh.
So when it comes to confrontation, yeah, she'll have a hard time.
But she's very tenacious. She doesn't give up. She
Yeah.
won't say no. Yeah.
Sun in the ninth and exalted Mercury in the ninth too.
Say again?
With the sun in the ninth house and exalted Mercury in the ninth house too. That's a
Yeah,
good
but it's-
quality.
Okay. Upapada's fun, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So much you can see from
Challenge
it.
subject.
Can you believe that people don't use Upapada? They give relationship counseling and they don't talk about Upapada.
Upapada is the key.
For serious relationship.
Mm.
Yeah.
Does Shiva ever talk about Upapada?
Then the difference between Upapada and A7 is
Last week's class.
that was last week's class. So we're talking about lovers and marriage partners.
We're talking about serious relationships.
Serious relationships.
Yeah.
A7 could be like flings, that kind of a thing.
People you have sex with.
People you have sex with,
Dates, lovers.
dates, lovers. What about friends?
A7 can become an Upapada Lagna. No, A7 is not friends.
Not friends. A11.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
7th house represents the
What
sexual
about business
organs.
associates?
It's also business associates, but we're using it differently.
Oh.
Yeah. Has different rules. And I have a whole article on A7 that talks about the difference between those two. So our next little topic is, you're asking all these questions from last week.
Well,
I know, all the fundamentals, yes.
all the stuff, right?
Lajitadi Avasta. What's Lajitadi Avasta?
Lajitadi Avasta. These are the avastas that tell they're not based on the age of the planet or the emotional state. It's kind of whether the planet is humiliated or not in the house.
Page 182 in my book.
Like for instance, Freedom's fifth house.
My what?
Your fifth house.
What page?
Yeah.
182.
My fifth house is lit.
That's
So what
Lajitadi
would you
right
like
there.
182.
Well, I don't know. You wanted an example, right? What is it?
You can?
The Lord is.
Lajitadi means to be ashamed or to have done something to cause shame.
It's lachitati. Adi means etc. So it's
Lachitati.
legita etc.
Lagitati.
So
I
we
like
have
the word shame. I like the word it's something that causes humility or humiliation, embarrassment.
That's a
that
good
kind of
point.
thing.
embarrassment.
Shame.
So
Very fine.
so then we have Garvita, which is proud, Shudita, which is hungry, Trisita, which is thirsty or desirous, Mudita, which is delightful, and Kshobita, which is disturbed. On the page previous to that, we have also the Diptadi avastas, which will partially work for this.
Prior to?
Yeah, page 181. So, this next section talks about the Lord of the Upapada, the Avasta of that Lord. Will show what is the emotional state at the time of marriage.
Wow.
Oh, right.
Like when you're getting married.
When you're getting married.
Do
So
you-
your
Would show the
Upapada,
emotional-
so
would show the
Jupiter,
emotional state of the
your
spouse,
Jupiter's
too?
not in any. I mean, at this level, it's not conjunct to benefic. It's not combust with an enemy. It's not conjunct an enemy. It's not Ucha or Mula Trikona, and it's not conjunct Sun, Mars, or nodes. So we don't have any extreme situation happening.
Yeah,
But
there was an extreme at the time I married. There was something that happened.
but we do have a. It is in an enemy sign,
Yeah.
which is Dukita, from the Diptadi avasta, which means dukkha. There's some suffering associated at the time of the marriage.
That's right.
Okay, we're talking
What was the
about
suffering?
The
Can you
Diptadi.
guess?
Who suffered?
Well, this is the thing. If it was, if we were using the, if you use the Gemini Upapada,
Yeah.
that Gemini, that Mercury is basically acting like it's Nietzsche, which a Nita, it means an angry, or no, Nietzsche is
Nietzsche is.
burdened.
Burdened. Okay.
I like the other. There's one thing that said when I was doing the research that
there.
Nietzsche planet is Beta, which means alarmed
Alarmed.
or frightened or in a state of
Yeah.
like emotional shock.
Um,
They're getting, you see these people that they're like up there and they're getting married and they look like they're gonna like pass out. It's like, oh my gosh, it's not that bad. Or
They look alarmed.
alarmed, yeah.
Like, what happened?
Oh, what happened?
yeah, a Nietzsche planet, it can be its Kala, which can mean shaking. So what happened at the time of your wedding?
I had the stomach flu. Really, really bad stomach flu. Like 3-4 days before, and I couldn't eat for like 3 days.
Wow.
They were wondering whether I was even going to be able to make the fitting, like go around, 4 times kind of thing.
Oh my god.
I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do it. It was that bad. I was in bed. I was bedridden for 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yeah, 4 days before the marriage. I barely made it up. I
So-
drank like Gatorade all day of the wedding to make
So-
it through.
And you
Wow.
felt like you were dying?
Yes, that's right.
So it is the Jupiter.
Yeah,
So it's the Sagittarius
Physically,
Upapada.
yeah.
Because Jupiter's Marna Karkastana.
It's not mentioned in here. Your MK.
And I use it is next page, page 183.
Is it?
When
I
they
put
do-
Marna Karkastana in Avasta.
Ah, okay.
And that's my own personal
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
Marna Karkastana is not in Avasta
Yeah.
according to the other texts.
Uh-huh,
It's a separate technique.
Yeah.
But from my experience, it's an Avasta.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
emotion that people experience.
I mean, everybody was celebrating around me. Like at my house, there were parties, but people were all over from the world that came, right? And I was in bed. I couldn't even get out of bed. I was throwing up and all kind of stuff.
So
Barely made it through.
How is that, like, omen-wise,
it's not about omen. It's the condition of the Upapada Lagna Lord.
Crazy.
It's the signification arising from what's there. So pretty intense, huh?
That is intense.
Marna Karkastana Upapada
And he
Lagna
felt
Lord.
like he was dying.
Wow, I got it. That's my next I gotta add that in here as an example.
That's great.
It's a good thing you don't feel that through the whole relationship.
That's a pretty specific thing to tell somebody, though. When you get married, you're gonna feel like this or that.
Oh God. Just that day.
Just that day.
Marriage.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing, Mo. If you only knew the Jyotirlinga mantra back then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We'll fix things up.
So there's remedies. We don't need to suffer this. Nietzsche planets, we know there's ways to make it better. So we can apply remedies to this. It's not just across the board. Now, relative to this whole concept, something else I found in the Nadi texts. Go to the next Sanskrit shloka.
Where is it? In the
Not in the book, right?
No, that was just the Avasta there.
seventh one. Oh,
This is in the Aruda book. So this is, I found quite interesting, and I thought it had similar relation. So the Upapada Lagna Lord is showing us our internal state, how we're feeling, right? We just saw that. How Mo was feeling. Now this sloka says the seventh Lord conjunct Venus will cause heavy rains at the time of marriage. What is Venus the Karaka of?
Venus is the Karaka. Well, it's a watery planet.
It rules water.
Yeah.
Sorry, what element, what tattva is it?
Yeah.
Water.
This is
Right.
what-
So at the time of marriage, there's water, rain coming from the heavens.
Mm.
Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Seventh Lord conjunct Venus. It wasn't raining on my seventh Lord is conjunct Venus. It wasn't raining on my wedding day.
No.
No. Great sunny day. Sorry, man. My
Not
chart
me.
is,
It's not me. This is just a
It was a
translation.
fantastically sunny day. It's so hot.
Do we have any aspects? What's going on with your Venus?
Venus is with Sun, Saturn, Mercury in the fifth.
Saturn.
So it's not just Venus.
Saturn would deny that.
We've got
right?
Saturn and Sun. So Saturn makes it windy and Sun makes it sunny.
Was it windy too?
Not really that way.
What sign is it in?
Yeah, what's the sign?
Cancer.
Cancer.
Is it near water?
No. Well, it's in Vancouver. The
No
whole
lake.
city's near water, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but so we can't say. You see, you have that conjunction happening there,
yeah.
which so I guess what you're showing us is that the strongest planet there is going to give the results.
So the sun. It's really sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We've got 4 planets in Cancer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Mercury's there too.
Right. That's my seventh Lord.
Oh.
Interesting.
Mhm.
It'd be which one is closest to Mercury?
Venus is closest to Mercury.
Yeah, and which one's farthest?
Saturn. Saturn and Sun are pretty much together, and they're like 14 degrees away from Mercury and Venus. Mercury and Venus are within a degree of each other.
Okay, and let's see. So it's Mercury, Saturn, Sun, and Venus. The most benefic and the most malefic. The most malefic is Saturn.
Yeah.
The most benefic is Venus. So Saturn and Venus are sharing results.
Right.
And then at the next level, we have the next most benefic is Mercury, and the next most malefic is Sun. And so they're changing results. So
I'll say the Sun and Saturn
he
with
sneezes.
Venus.
He just-
Oh.
I don't know, but that it works. It works. So you see. So what happens is you see something like that. I haven't seen a seventh lord conjunct multiple planets and known what the person's wedding day was like or remembered to ask them for that.
Oh, there's the second one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The bottom line is that right there, it worked. So the big thing is we have to look at a few other charts and see if it works in those charts as well. But this is from the Nadi text.
What is Nadi?
Nadi is it's a type of Jyotish text. There's different styles of Jyotish text. So looks like these. Do we need to take a break?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay. You're okay too, right? You guys are fine.
Yeah.
That's the end of that section. So let's call it a break, a short one, because then we're going to go into the second house from Upapada.
Did Eric